As a photographer, I constantly meet women that wish they were more beautiful. They'll say to me, change this, Raquez, fix this, smooth that. Or I'll catch them saying, oh, they're not beautiful, or they wish they could do this to their bodies or that, looking at this, comparing themselves. All of this pain. This made me realize that women face so much pressure just to feel like they're enough. So I decided to create the SHAPE campaign. SHAPE represents simply human advocating positivity everywhere. SHAPE, get it? So I launched a nationwide search and received submissions from all over the country, but only 7 proved to have what it takes. I want to take the diamond in the rough and make her shine brighter than ever. I'm looking for determination, creativity, confidence, and heart. Every size, every color, and every shape. And you better believe I don't shoot for the stars. I create them. SHAPE.
Today is about entrepreneurship. It's about being a go-getter while all at the same time staying connected to your spirituality, your faith, and staying true to oneself. Today I have the amazing, I want to stop using that word amazing because that's not enough to describe this outstanding, stellar human being that's sitting in front of me, Miss Tiffany Longs. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm well. Thank you, Class. Is that okay if I call
That's
you that?
perfect. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to, before we get into today's episode, I have this little game that I've started. It's a trend now, and it's the icebreaker. It's called Shape Shifter.
Okay.
So how it works is I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you'll have 15 seconds to answer each question.
Okay.
The timer will start after the first question and after the next one, and so forth and so on. All right? The first question is, what's the best one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Block out everyone else's opinions of life. Develop your own.
Well said. All right. Next question. If you were offered one free cosmetic procedure, what would you choose?
I would get my my muscles restored in my stomach.
Okay. The pressure makes it hard to think, right?
I was gonna say nothing, but that is the only thing now that I want.
Okay. Got you. And would that be cosmetic though?
It is.
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. What happened? Why did that?
I got pregnant with my oldest son.
Okay.
And I gained a lot of weight.
Okay.
Water weight, because I had toxemia.
Mhm.
When he grew, the top muscles also opened up, which mostly happens in pregnancy. But however, I'm just one of the women where it never went back down.
Got you. Okay. Understood. All right. Next question. What is one song that has helped you to overcome heartbreak?
Gyra by Maverick City.
Gyra by Maris. Sing a little bit of it. Let's hear some of it.
Oh, Gyra, you are enough.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the heartbreak that occurred?
I went through my divorce.
There go our timer right there. All right. Let's see. Next question. Which television character has inspired you the most?
I don't watch TV.
Not even back in the day?
Oh, Chosen. I like the Jesus on Chosen.
Okay. All right. If you could have a superpower, what would it be
I would fly.
and why?
It would be easier to reach the people that I'm building family with. They're everywhere. New Zealand, Trinidad, Africa.
Okay. Nice. Final question. I'm going to give you 10 seconds for this one.
Okay.
What does the SHAPE acronym stand for?
Oh. Success, hope, appeal, poise.
Okay, your time is up.
Okay.
I'll give you, I could tell you were guessing.
I was guessing because I didn't know. And I thought that meant me say what it is, but you want to know what you have is
For the campaign?
Got
Yeah, of
you.
course,
Okay,
of course,
child,
of course.
I don't know.
So, Tiffany, tell me a bit about why you joined the Shape campaign, season 3. On top of that,
I saw it on Facebook and I was reading what you had up. Then we had our video and you were just talking about women embracing who they are and their insecurities. And I felt like it was great brand alignment for what I already do. And a lot of times when you are working with women, you have to go before them to experience certain things when you're attempting to help them build in certain areas. And so it was very important for me to step out of my comfort zone, allow someone else to dress me, and to basically be vulnerable under someone else's camera. And it was one of the reasons why I joined. And the 3 pictures.
so you said a mouthful, so I'm just trying to dissect what I want to tackle first. So, definitely the vision, the purpose, the mission. There's something you said. You said that your brand as well, it was in alignment with that.
Yes.
What is your brand?
So I'm classier than you'll ever be. That's me, the beauty therapist. But classier than you'll ever be is not necessarily me, but it's a movement. It's an attitude. A lot of women come to me. I'm a beauty therapist, licensed esthetician and makeup artist, and they learn to build self-care and self-love. I use like mental health principles and Bible-based principles to kind of help them develop in areas that they're really not aware of. So that is my brand.
What you said as far as you have to go before them
Yes.
in order to basically guide them or lead them. What insecurities have you had to overcome?
Oh, being the fat one, being the ugly one, being called crazy all my life. My mom told me I was nuts like my father's family. I never was raised with my father's I didn't know my father's people till I was 30. So could you imagine growing up from a little girl to a young adult, hearing that you struggle with mental health, not even really knowing what that looked like? To come into your full womanhood knowing that a lot of things were being projected that was never really there. So these are things that I had to overcome, recognizing my own self-worth, building confidence in who I am as a woman, standing on my own principles, and being okay with other people being who they are authentically. So these are some of the things that I have to develop in. I had to develop in, still developing every day.
And I'm curious to know, especially you being a Shape campaign spokeswoman, what is your method in your own industry and brand that you do to instill these values in your clients?
The first thing I do is listen. I become a safe space for them, and I build trust with my clients above anything. Before the beat, before the wax, before the facial, there is a conversation where they're speaking and I'm listening. And then I'm asking probing questions based off of what they're willing to share. So I never make any assumptions on what they need. I actually let them tell me what it is they need. After a rapport has been built, then we are able to move into a space where they trust my judgment. And then we can go a little deeper every time.
What type of I think that's a great approach, first of all. But what type of issues do you commonly see amongst women that you see is a major community issue?
So a major community issue that I am faced with is the father wound. A lot of the women and men, because I do both, they have not had a father in their life. And so the women don't know how to identify when a real man is coming. And men don't really know how to connect or even to submit to another man who's coming to guide them in a brotherly way, if that makes sense. Even with their children, like a lot of the men I deal with can't connect with their male sons and they can't connect with their female daughters. because they didn't have a father. All they had was a mother. And a lot of the women, they deal with self-esteem issues, fear. They don't think they're enough. I have a young lady, she's into her 50s, and she's been nipped and tucked so many times that when she lay on my bed, she looked like Frankenstein's bride. But it's not enough. It's Tiff, I want this next. I want that next. And there's no amount of affirmations that can be given from me or the husband that can touch that space that's broken, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think your remedy to turning around something that could have been painful, I won't speak for you, but what you went through as a child and a young lady, and now you're taking it and using that pain to fuel a passion to help other people.
Yes.
Kind of similar to what I'm doing here,
Yes.
So I think that's very commendable. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I understand you're from Queens,
I
New
am.
York. Talk about life in Queens, New York. I mean, you New Yorkers. I don't play with New Yorkers. I love New Yorkers, but I don't play with y'all.
Well, no, I lived there till I was 10, so I can speak from a place of adolescence. My mom, I didn't even know we was poor. We lived on Gar Boulevard. We lived by Jamaica Avenue. We were always on the go. Me and my brother, we were on buses and trains by ourselves. I'm 5 years old on the bus, on the city bus, on the train. We going to Coney Island. We going to Far Rockaway. We was always go, 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 go. The life was go, 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 go. But we never played outside. We would go to the programs. Kid Success is something I did. So we would go to the Giant Stadium. After school, I would go and we would learn how to sew. We would learn how to make little like cinnamon rolls, or we would also go on a Saturday and we would get free lunch in the morning, then go free lunch, and then all summer free lunch. That's basically the life that I lived. The school would take us to get our teeth done every 6 months. The social worker would come and give my mom a voucher for us. So we would get one pair of shoes every year. And then my brother got beat up and they stole his shoes in the wintertime. So we had to walk home in the snow with no shoes on.
Wow.
That's the life that we lived in the city. But my mom said that she don't know what would have happened to us if we would have stayed. So she moved us to Ohio when I was 10 and my brother was 13. And so our life changed drastically. That's when I actually was able to go outside and play. I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was almost 15. And I developed seasonal allergies because there's grass. There was no grass.
Right. Wow. And I mean, you say your life changed, but Ohio, I have this thing with me with Ohio. I think it's one of the craziest places to live.
It is.
I've never lived there, but I hear so many bad
No,
things.
it is. And it's funny that you should say that. Yes, my life changed drastically. I think about the immediate dangers we faced in the city because I would lie if I said that we didn't step over dead bodies going to school in the morning. I remember telling a therapist this and she asked me if I was lying. And I told her, I'm not going to lie about my experiences. It's a concrete jungle. However, the transformation to Ohio, by the time I was 25, half of my graduating class was already buried. I had moved away. I was in Hawaii at that time. But could you imagine going on social media every day and it's RIP to like whole families, houses being burned down, young boys I went to school with shot in their head. They found one part of the body somewhere and another part of the body somewhere in Ohio, of all places. But when we were in Ohio, I was turning into a young woman. So my mom essentially locked me in the house. When my cousin passed away a couple years ago, I went back to Ohio and one of his homeboys said, yo, we ain't seen Tiffany since the hood. I was 10. I think it was 14 we moved out of the hood and she bought her house. So nobody seen me from 14 to 38 years old.
Wow.
Yes. You want to talk about sheltered until she passed away and I had the opportunity to explore life on my own.
Now, you said that you were sheltered, right?
Yes.
How did that manifest itself as a young lady being locked down? Because in my mind, I'm thinking the more you hold tight, the more rebelling and bucking you're going to do against what you're being confined to. You didn't do that?
I was afraid of my mother.
Okay.
So no, my brother, he rebelled
Okay.
and he snuck and did everything. But I pretty much did what I was told for fear of losing my life. That's how serious she was. And I don't mean literally killing me, but
Right.
when she laid the hammer down, you ain't want no more of that smoke. So you did what you was told and you was obedient. So I've always been the obedient child. My mom had 4 kids. Out of all of them, I am the least rebellious. But I will say, she passed when I was 24. So from 24 to 27, I hit the ground running in the world. And I was experiencing things I was never prepared for, meeting people, personalities that I didn't even know how to navigate. That's the honest to God truth. And I was dealing with the loss of my mother postpartum because I had just given birth to my second child. The move away, because we moved away right after she passed, right after I had Jeremiah. And I was put in essentially what felt like a different country. We were in, even though it was America, Hawaii really is its own country. So I'm not around any familiar people. I'm not around any familiar foods.
Wait, Hawaii?
Yes.
So okay, back up.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Hawaii. Where did that come in to the?
Oh, I moved there
timeline?
after my mom passed away.
After your mom passed, you
Yep.
moved to Hawaii. Were you in the military?
My ex-husband was in the military.
Ex-husband was in the military.
Yes.
Okay, got you. Okay, resume.
Okay, so yes, so that was a whole nother navigating that because she passed January 6th, 2007. I had my son January 8th, 2007. I had a cesarean.
Wow.
And then I told the doctor.
So you had your baby right after?
Right after.
Oh.
I told the doctor, I know I have to stay a week. I need to leave. I have to bury my mother. I was released. He talked to me because he's been my doctor from my first pregnancy. So we had lots of complications. He was like, Tiffany, I'm going to let you go, but I want you to be aware of what we might be looking at. And it's in the dead of winter. However, he signed the paper. So we took her. I left the hospital Wednesday. We buried her that Friday, along with family drama. Because, you know, every funeral brings mess. And then by June of 2007, we were in Hawaii. And there was so much movement in my life at that time that I was not even really able to process the loss, the birth, the move. And so I kind of just wowed out. So that was when I rebelled against my upbringing, if that makes sense.
So do you think that it was more so out of hurt?
Yes.
And confusion and just all these different things?
And naivety and just trying to have life experiences. Some good, some bad. But none of them I would take away because it's helped shape me to who I am today.
Absolutely. Now I understand that you grew up Pentecostal.
Yes.
But now you identify with the Hebrew faith.
Well, not necessarily. Okay, I just want to say, I keep the Hebraic faith, yes. But I do not identify as a Hebrew Israelite. I just want to put that out there for anybody who may be listening.
That's very important to know. Yes, very important.
But I do keep the Torah. I do keep the Hebraic faith.
Okay.
And I do try very hard to live according to the way Christ has required us as humans to live.
Okay. That's very dynamic that you say that. So let's kind of put it all together, right? So your mom, you said she really was the lawmaker pretty much in your household. So you didn't do certain things because of her way of parenting, you know. Was it based on religion or was it just based on wanting to stay alive?
I believe it was out of survival.
Okay.
And spirituality as well. You know, our parents, the generation I come from, their parents, they really didn't get too much love and nurturing. My great-grandmother's husband was a sharecropper. And they had 15 kids, 12 lived. And my grandfather also had kids, according to what I've been told, with her siblings. So then there's family rivalries, you know? Then my grandmother has my mother. And then there's issues amongst siblings and issues with my mother and my grandmother. by the time my mom got sick and started passing and she was able to open up, because for 23 years of my life, she was not able to communicate. She didn't have the language to articulate what was going on internally until she got really sick and it was just me and her. Like there was no one else, just me and her. She was able to say, like, this is what my mother did to me. And I'm not going to apologize for how I raised you because I gave you what I had. You get what I'm saying?
Do you feel, I definitely understand what you're saying, but do you feel that her way of teaching or parenting was conducive to you being successful
Oh,
as an
yes.
adult? Okay.
Because I'm the only one she did this with.
Okay.
And I'm the only one living the way I'm living.
Mhm.
The rest of them is still trying to figure out even who they are. My brother is coming in really close because he's a stand-up man. But she always says she can't raise a man, so she relied on Jesus to help her raise my brother. And so he's a minister, he's married, he's been married for almost 25 years. He's been taking care of his wife and children, and he holds down everything he needs to hold down. But then the younger ones, they had a different mother. My mom was sick by the time she had them. So she didn't have, I guess, the strength she had for the two older ones to give to the babies.
So let's talk about your kids, right? I know you have
Yes.
four kids, 2 boys, 2 girls.
2 boys, 2 girls.
How does your parenting style reflect your mom's, if it does at all?
So believe it or not, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because I grew up feeling like I wasn't loved, I never wanted my children to feel that way. And because I am actually very free-spirited and I am very free-thinking, I let my children know that it's okay to have thoughts, to communicate with me. So my 2 daughters are my siblings. They're my youngest siblings. My mom, when she passed, they were 14 and 7. I adopted them. And then I gave birth to my 22-year-old and my 17-year-old. Those are my boys. And so growing up, the only thing I can say that is mirrors my mother is the experiences. My mom was very good at creating experiences for us. So my children had wonderful experiences growing up as far as travel and theater, all of that. They did all of that. And then also the foundation of the word. I did give them what she gave me. The difference is I allow them to choose if this is what they want, and I don't badger them. But in her house, this is what it was. So whether you wanted this or not, this is what you was going to get.
Now, I do want to back up. You said that your 2 girls were your siblings.
They are, yes.
They are your siblings. However, you adopted them. So how does that, do they call you sister or mom?
No, they call me mom.
They call you mom. I've
Yes.
never heard of that dynamic before. That's okay.
They call me mom.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, do you feel like your parenting style has been successful?
No, my kid's bad. But I don't think really, honestly, what's a successful parent? What is it?
I think it's defined by a relative term. Like for some, it may be like in your case with you and your siblings, you're the only one that seems to have some form of knowing who they are, self-awareness. So maybe in that case, you may call that successful parenting on your mom's part for you.
Yes,
So
yes.
I guess it's relative, but based on what you feel.
Well, I will say, I think as far as giving them the tools they need to survive and to live, to understand who they are, to understand the country and culture we live in, I am successful in that route. In that, me seeing who they could be and accepting in real time who they are, that's another thing.
Hey, it's your guy Quest here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Shape Campaign podcast. And as a quick reminder, please be sure to check out all of our exclusive interviews from the rest of our Shapecast, as well as the promotional rollout at raquezrouse.com. And for more exclusive behind the scenes stuff that you may have not gotten to see, at my Instagram handle at mr.raquezrouse. That's Mr. Raquez Rouse. Now back to the show.
I know you have a child that you say is addicted to drugs and you're afraid of losing your son
Yes.
to drugs. Talk about that.
So, all praise be to the Most High. Believe it or not, Quez, a couple weeks ago, I just walked into the house and said, Lord, please put this boy in jail. He in jail right now. And there was a time in my life with him growing up that was the worst thing for me. That was one of my biggest fears, is that he would go to prison or that he would be murdered. And then to fast forward to the future, to pray that he goes somewhere where I know he got a cot and 3 hots. And then be grateful that the Father honored that prayer in hopes that it brings some clarity to him. Yeah, my oldest son, he's 20. He'll be 22 July 26th, and he's been addicted to meth since he was 16 years old. And I didn't find out until he was almost 19 because he became very destructive and he was stealing so much. And I was working so much to just keep a roof over our head. That I just had to make some hard decisions. I had to put him out for some time. He calls, Mom, I'm ready to get my life together. So then I move him to the city that I'm in. And 45 days in, he relapsed and he's back on the streets. And it's been 2 years now that he's been relapsed. And now he is in custody. And on the 23rd, he has a court hearing. So then I'll know more. But currently, he's not calling me because I'm the problem. And I received that. I have to be the villain, and I'll take that.
I'm very sorry that you have to experience this.
It's okay.
I can only imagine, because I don't know what that's like to be in that situation. But that's tough.
It
And
is.
especially the person you love so much, they don't see that love.
No.
They feel it as you're the villain in their story.
Yes.
But I feel that he will eventually see the love.
I pray.
And he'll thank you for the tough love. I can identify with that in a different way, but definitely when you want something for someone so bad and they don't see it because they're so caught up in their own, it could be ego or their own mindset.
And hurt. And destruction.
All of the things you could say, yes, absolutely. So you are a powerful, strong individual.
Thank you. All praise
Absolutely.
be to the Most High.
And I can see that that was another thing too. Upon us first, meeting each other and things, your faith, it was so, I don't want to say it was different than what I was raised in church and things. However, the way you go about it, I can see your dedication to it. I can see your diligence. I can see all of that. And it doesn't feel like a show. It doesn't feel like something that you're trying to be high and mighty and holier than thou. It just feels like it's from a genuine place, a real place.
Yes, sir.
So I admire that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell me about, I know that you had a bout with attempting suicide. Talk about that.
Yes, that's when I spent my time in Hawaii. So remember when we talked about the baby, my mom passing the baby, the move. When we got to Hawaii, my mom was no longer alive. So this is where I'm really getting the full understanding of the person I am married to. And so this is not a bash him, but this is me sharing that I started to be treated extra strength in a bad because there was no one else around. Does that make sense? And then I have these children that I've committed to. I have my 2 babies.
So you felt like isolated.
I was isolated and then abused. And on the island, the culture is so strong, and the woman is to be seen and not heard. And I never really connected with military. I connected with Kama'aina, which is local people, with the Polynesian people. That's who received me, and that's where I felt most comfortable. But being received by them also came with, the correction from the elders. And from the outside looking in, because even though I was in an abusive situation, I always told myself that I'm making sacrifices, but I'm not going to lose Tiffany. Like, Tiffany still has to be first. So to women who were not allowed to be who they are. They see another woman trying to navigate staying true to who she was. They were looking at me like, that's bad. You are a wife and you are a mother and you are nothing more. And I say, that's bad. I am a woman before I am a wife and a mother. I'm so much more. And so going to work, and I'm not going to say I told all my business at work, but my ex-husband made it very difficult for me not to, for people not to be aware of what was going on in my house, because he would call the job constantly to see if I was there. Or if I didn't answer the phone, he would show up at the job and kind of stand on the side of the window as I'm trying to work, drop the kids off, because I worked at a food court. I was a manager at a food court, and there was several different restaurants, and I operated in two. And then there was a playhouse. So if he wanted to go play basketball and I had to work till 11, he'll drop the kids off and tell them to go play in the playhouse until I got off. And so there was always a pull. I was always in trouble at work. My manager was always calling me in the office. It was like I was always the bad guy in every situation. So I'm being ostracized at home and mistreated. I'm being mistreated at work because my home life is spilling over into work. And then so now I'm going out at night drinking. I'm smoking weed. I'm kicking it with people. I was even dating girls because I figured I've always had an affinity towards women. So I thought that that's what that was. It was coming from a place of attraction, and that I couldn't stand my ex-husband. Anything about him just made my skin crawl. And because I didn't see any relationships, like any solid relationships growing up, I was like, oh, this can't be it. This ain't for me. Like, this must be what it is for me. And so in that season of my life, I kind of felt like I was just out here hitting the ground running, just trying to figure out Tiffany.
Right.
And it got so chaotic to where I finally left him and moved out. I got a small apartment, a 2-bedroom, and on Waipahu for $11.50. This was like 2011, like 2010. That's a whole lot of money. My car breaks down. He repossesses one. He stops paying the car notes on two, actually. But I said I can afford to keep one. I can't afford to keep the other. But that car also breaks down. So I'm like 30 minutes from where I work. So now I'm on Facebook pleading for rides. I got 3 little kids, our latchkey kids, and they gotta walk a mile home every day. Like, look, mommy gotta go to work. This the key. Don't let nobody in. It was so much going on that I sat in the car one day and just said it would be so much better for me just to kind of check out because of the pressure that I was under. Pressure with the family. And it's amazing. I really found out how my family felt about my mother. When she passed, it translated to me as the oldest girl who looked like her, who sound like her, and in a lot of ways spiritually thinks like her. It was kind of like an opportunity. All they did was talk about me. No, there was no help. There was no respite. If I asked for money, I got dogged. Like, why are you asking for this? Or da 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 da. If I'm trying to say what's going on with my marriage, no feedback, no help, but you stay and deal with it. That's your husband. You deal with it. This is what I was dealing with. So I felt like I needed to just go ahead and go to sleep. And I can honestly say the thoughts, though, of, okay, if you go to sleep, these girls already lost your mother. And nobody else in the house, none of my aunts, my brother, nobody stood up and said, I'll take them. The first thing they said was they got to go into the system. I couldn't believe that. The EMT are taking my mom out and they talking about putting her children in foster care. And I done watched my mom help raise all their kids. I helped her raise their kids. So I said, Tiff, you can't do that. You're going to have to endure. But I kept hearing, this is not you anyway. So it's just time to come home. Like I just kept hearing that in my spirit. And so I just went on back to the Lord.
And what age were you at that time?
I was between 27 and 28.
Okay. This was not really that long ago in retrospect. If you would have made that decision, what's one thing Just one. But what's one thing that you would have missed out on today?
My grandkids. Oh man. And I thank God every day that I get to love on them babies for my mother. Because the little one looked just like me, looked just like her. Yeah, my grandbabies. And honestly, all of them, the children, like watching them grow, watching them choose life for themselves, their career paths, even the drug addiction. And then being okay in myself to let them choose, not desiring to control. I would have missed out on that opportunity for myself.
You know something? It's amazing where life can and will take us. And you often look back 15 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, whatever, but you never always can pinpoint or predict where life would take you at this moment. You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's what I always say. And just make the best decision at that time that you can, even if sometimes it may be the lesser of two evils, as they say.
Yes.
But do what you feel like is the best thing. And then if you have a faith, if you trust in God or whoever, that it's going to work out for your good.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do, right?
That's all you can do.
Wrapping up here, because you've shared a lot of amazing things. What is something that women can expect with the Shape campaign that you have experienced as a first person witness?
I felt like, I told you I felt like mahogany. And so that's my favorite movie. And I just was like, I felt like a different person. The outfit that was chosen for me, I wouldn't have chose for myself. The shoes that were chosen for me, I wouldn't have chose for myself. So it gave me an opportunity to be someone else. And I styled my hair according to what you provided. And when I look back on the pictures, I was so excited. Like, you don't know how many times I opened up that link and I was so conflicted. I was like, oh, just three. Oh, that experience, the time with you, even the time with Pauline, right?
Our amazing makeup artist. Shout out to Pauline.
I'm now following her on social media, literally stalking her. I done made a beauty bestie. And I'm watching her journey. That's something else that they will expect to experience is a connection. If you're open to the connection, being open to look at someone else's life in celebration and love and not envy. So I love it. The makeup artist was on point and just security. I will say you do provide a safe space. It's not like we come into a mean girl, with the guise of women empowerment. It really is, you are who you are. You're direct, but you're not rude. And so you can't get offended in that, right? And you just have this great experience if they're willing to open and trust the process.
Fantastic. I remember you telling me in our first call, this was way early in casting when we did our first one-on-one. I remember you telling me that you, I don't know if you said you read people's energies or you're very intuitive to pick up people's
Yes.
energy. And I asked you, what is my energy giving off? You said, I can't tell right now. It's too early.
It is.
I'm going to ask you that now. What does my energy give off?
You're confident. Like I said, you're assertive. Didn't I say that? And you're direct, but you're not rude. And so that is what I'm feeling. And you want to learn. You ask questions and you think. You kind of ponder. I remember we were talking about the stars and you looked up and you said, I like that. You thought about what I said intently. And it wasn't like I'm just listening to respond. You listened to actually think about what I was saying to decide if you could rock with that or not. I like that about you.
Awesome. Tiffany, where can people follow you, stay in touch with you, reach out to you, support your brand, your business? Give us all of your information.
So you can find me on all the social medias. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, and IG as Classier Than You'll Ever Be. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, and IG as Royal Lash Beauty Bar and Boutique. That is where you guys can find me. If you're struggling with the handles because they are long, you can do Royal Lash at yahoo.com or ClassyB32. No, cbuttons32 at yahoo.com. I follow everyone back. I respond to every text, believe it or not. And I stay connected to anyone who is looking to connect with me.
Tiffany, thank you so much. I really, really mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for all that you have blessed me with this experience, just being able to meet you and being in your presence. I thank God for you, and I wish you the best, and that your son will make a complete, full recovery.
Amen.
And fly high the other way.
Yes.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the Shape Campaign podcast. We'll see you later.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Shape.